Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dutchy Gaming, and a new video on the channel bringing you your League Starter Helper Kit for Reign of Arrows Raider. This is going to cover everything you need to have a smooth League start. Some of these bits will have been mentioned vaguely in the video, but I want to go through in a bit more detail. So the first thing you're going to have access to is leveling filters on my old account. The links will be in the video description. You essentially just go into filters, click follow, then whenever I update them, they'll update for you too. Just be aware when a new league starts and the filter blade gets updated, it won't work until the league starts. It'll bring up an error saying it's not versioned properly. So don't panic. As soon as the new league kicks in, the filter will work. I'm making a lot of tweaks on the filter to make items pop a bit more. I'm removing magic bases from the mapping filter because to use these, you have to either regal or scour, so it's not worth it. So it's only going to include white and rare items. I'm making a few tweaks to socket colors so that the ideal socket colors will show in a different color and they'll make a noise. A lot of people ask me for end game filters, and it's not something I do because it really depends on the content you're doing as to what sort of strictness you need on your filter. So I like to run like an uber strict filter, but it's going to filter out single splinter drops. If you're farming Legion, you're going to need to pick up your single splinters because you're going to be dropping a lot of them. Same with Breach and things like that. So I would recommend if you want to do your own stricter leveling filter, go onto Filter Blade, set it to uber strict, and then just tweak the bits that you want to. I've also included some better trading links. For people that don't know, better trading is a really, really good add-on for Chrome is where I use it. And what it does, it lets you save your trades in folders. So I'll set up my trades before the league starts with what I want to search for my bow, my quiver, all of my gear. I'll put on uniques and stuff like that. And then you can save them all in a folder. And you essentially just click on a trade and it sets all the filters, and then you just press search. There's going to be a couple of things I would recommend to live search for as well if you're serious about taking the build further. A lot of players use it. There's a GitHub where you can download it, and it is just an add-on to your internet browser. As soon as you log into Path of Exile, it'll ask you to authorize it. You do, and then it works. It's really, really handy. All you need to do if you want to use it and you have got the setup is copy the link I've put into new folder. So you go to Better Trading, click new folder, put the link in. That then gives you all the searches. So what we're going to do is just run through better trading. I'll give you an example of how it works. So you would just go import folder, paste your code in here, and it will bring up one of these folders, whatever one you've pasted in. To do them both, it'll add both your folders. They'll be there every time you log in to POE Trade or Path of Exile Trade. And these are your crafting bases. So these are going to be fractured items that you can search for. So let's have a look at Quiver, and I'll show you what's been set up. What it's essentially doing is looking for one of any of these fractures. So it's prod speed, crit multi, crit chance, damage of bows, added lightning with bow skills, increased LE damage with attacks. We'll just make that a bit higher. And then it will search for you, and it will bring down your fractured items. You can then go and look at what type of quivers there are to what you might like to do. So something like this, for example, for 8 chaos, T1 crit multi, a base of LE damage with attacks is not too bad. You've got crit multi again with bows, crit multi, crit chance, prod speed. There's loads of good ones. It is going to be expensive. If you say you want prod speed on a prod speed base, it's likely to be expensive. Just be aware. So when you're setting up your character, don't try and get the best stuff in the world. Get something that's affordable that you can then sell for a profit once you've crafted it. So we'll just go into a bow example as well. So if we look at our spine bow search, and it will bring back any bows that have flat cold, flat fire, crit chance, or attack speed. And that's how you deal with your fractured bases. There's also going to be a folder for finished items. These aren't end game items. I'd say these are like, if you want an item for T16 mapping, this is kind of the setup that you'd look for. So if we start with finished bows, this is probably going to come back with not a lot because there's not a lot going on in the league. So for bows, if they're this price, do not pay them in a million years because I've not even asked for that much. I've asked for 650 LE DPS, 1.55 attacks per second, and 7.5% crit. But if we go any, and it will show some of the trades that existed at the beginning of the league, then you can see they're a bit more reasonable. Like there's no way anyone at league start's going to pay 5 divines for a mediocre bow. But bows like this would get you going. So this, for example, is LE DPS of 773. 10 chaos 3 months ago is obviously offline now because you stopped playing. Ranger bow is not the ideal base, but because it's at T1 attack speed, 1.55 is ample attack speed. So if we're going to have a look at a quiver, I've set it up. You might want to tinker this because you might not get many results at league start. Essentially, count means it needs, however many you put in the count, it needs to have those. So if I put count of 2, it has to have 2 of these on the item. I've also asked for prod speed though, because I think it's really important with the masteries we've got and for transition into tornado shot. And I've said I don't want to see fizz damage to attacks because I want to keep that low. If you get that too high, fizz reflect can actually be a bit of an issue because of the amount of arrows that we're firing. You can remove that if you want, if your searches are too narrow. So what you might want to do is maybe start at 2, search and see what turns up. So we've had 34 results. So this bow looks ridiculous for 20 chaos. The base is a bit rubbish, but actually for Rain of Arrows it doesn't matter. It's got T2 cold damage, T1 crit multi, T1 life, T1 prod speed, T2 times your bows, crafted attack speed. That is a suffix, so you can even craft your crit chance and frenzy on that. This bow is really, really good. If you could get this to 20 at league start, bargain. And then you go through. If there's nothing in your price range or nothing that you think is very good, you would then go back and say, actually, let's just look for one of these, this, or you could remove prod speed completely, but I think it really helps. So you could say, actually, I just want to see one result. Now it's brought back 120 and there's much cheaper results. You're likely going to have to sift through some chaff. These here, not too bad. LE damage with attack skills base, life, prod speed, damage of bows, crit chance, accuracy, and fire damage. That's a really good quiver. If at league start you can pick that up for 5 or 10 chaos, that'd be a bargain. So that's kind of how you go about using the searches. I've already bought a leveling guide out, so if you do get stuck, I'd recommend referencing that guide because there might be something fundamental that you're missing. There's also, as already mentioned, tons of bow resources on the channel. I did a lot of work on Tornado Shot last league. There's a lot of videos. It is a lot of watching, but if there's certain videos that interest you, I'd recommend you checking it out, especially if you've never played a bow build before. I'm also going to be streaming live on Twitch for the first few days. After that, I'll probably disappear. I don't stream for that long in terms of the time of the league because I work. I've got family life, stuff like that, so I don't really get a chance to stream. The only reason I can do it at league start is I normally book a couple of days off just to have a play around with the new league, have a bit of a break from work and just have a bit of fun. So if you see me suddenly streaming for 4 days in a row and then disappear for 2 weeks, that's pretty standard. There is a Discord server that I set up when I bought my original Lightning Strike guide out, and it's just built into a general PoE Discord server where I'm fairly active in it. So if you do need help on the build, there'll be a link below to the Discord. Just come in, leave a message in one of the chats, DM me, whatever you want, and I'll try and answer as quick as I can. I am working on an Atlas strategy, but there's not really much point making much of a start until I see the new tree. Once I've seen it and I've worked out the best strategy for me, I'll be bringing out a video for it, and then there'll be a link in this video to that strategy as well. I thought this would be a good place to list the Syndicate Crafts you ideally need to unlock before you get to T16 maps. First is on a normal quiver. It's crit chance and chance to gain frenzy on crit. This is massively important for your crit setup, and it's especially important when you go to Deadeye because they don't have a natural way to generate frenzy charges. This really helps. You will 100% need minus mana costs on rings from Elrion. You either need to find a ring with channeling or non-channeling skills have minus mana. One unlocks the other. You just need to unlock one of the rings. I would also recommend getting 6 to 8% physical damage taken as fire on helmets. These drop from Corel. And then 6% physical damage taken as fire and lightning on body armor. This drops from Gravicius, but be aware he doesn't start on the Syndicate board. So you have to get people kicked out and hope that he turns up. That's kind of it for the resources to get you league started nice and comfortably. What I also am going to go through is some FAQs that I know I'm going to get, or I've got similar questions on my Lightning Strike build. So we'll start with the most common one. The build's really squishy. I keep dying and I keep getting one shot. There's lots of things I need to know to understand what's causing this. I would check, what tier map are you running? Are you getting one shot in T14 corrupting maps that you have to run? That is going to happen. Nearly every league start build that people do, unless they're super, super tanky, there can be maps that you could lose all 6 portals on if you get double fizzes, Ellie, you get reduced damage taken, you get minus res. There's not much you can do to survive those maps. When you're doing those horrible corrupting maps, you just have to bite the bullet, go through, get them completed, and then at least comfort yourself in saying you never have to do that map again. If you need to, you could run a steel skin on left click, but it honestly doesn't do that much. And it all revolves around lucky timing that it's up when you get hit. I would also check your evasion. I think when I left the campaign with Flask up, I had well over 24k evasion. Make sure your gear is evasion gear. Don't be running trash gear that you picked up in Act 3 that's got no defenses on it. Don't be running like hybrid energy shield armor pieces. All your pieces, I would recommend, while you're leveling, should be evasion. You still shouldn't get one shot, even with 4k life, by much in maps. Bosses, yes, you might end up getting the odd one shot, but it's going to be way better to run loads of evasion than lose 20% evasion and maybe get 2 or 3k armor into the build. It's just not worth it. It's not going to save you. The other thing I would say is if you are in endgame or T16 content and you feel your damage is fine, you can swap anger for determination. It's something I would recommend you do in your transition to a tornado shot anyway, but if you want to do a bit early, you can. The reason I don't recommend determination and grace when leveling is your DPS is just not going to be there. Next question, I've already got quite a lot, is when do I transition to a tornado shot? There's a few things you need to look at. Firstly, as a raider, you get ailment immunity and spell suppression as part of your ascendancy. You need to make up for this realistically before you go over to Deadeye. Ailments can wait because it can be quite tricky to do it, and we need to see how the new jewels are going to work, how common they are, as to how we actually go about getting ailment immune, which I will bring a video out once the league starts. At the moment, I don't know. Spell suppression is a bit easier. You can get it on gear. There's a couple of nodes at the bottom of the tree that you can take. So I would say definitely you need to be spell suppress capped or close to it before you transition across. You're also going to need a fairly decent bow. I would say if you don't have LE pen on the bow, you want 750 plus LE DPS with high crit chance. If you've crafted elemental penetration on your bow, you can get away with sort of 600% LE DPS and crit chance. And that's kind of it. I'd also think you should be rolling a big DPS quiver because they're quite easy to roll and they make a big difference. Like a decent quiver over a bad quiver can be 10 to 15% more damage. Next question I've had, and I don't understand how, is I've had people saying my damage in the campaign is low. And I would say if this is the case, you're either not following the guide, you're missing keystones, or you're missing masteries, or you don't have any flat elemental damage on your bow. This build scales elemental damage, so it's no good having a massive fizz bow. Yes, you'll do some damage, but you're missing out on all that increased elemental damage. And as I said, the power you get from the keystones and masteries on this build should see you burning through the first 8 acts. Acts 9 to 10 can feel a little bit tougher. The bosses seem to get a lot tankier. If you've got bad gear, it might feel a little bit bad. And I've run through with bad bows all the way through to sort of Act 8 or 9, and I've not had any issues. I would say there might be something that you're missing. Next, it's not really a question, but I get lots of various questions about what to do when you first hit maps. If you're in trade, buy a 5 link. If you've not got one, buy one before you even get in your first map. It makes a massive difference. Gives you a nice damage boost. It just makes your character feel much, much stronger in early maps. Like a 4 link Rain of Arrows will get you to yellow maps easy enough, but it will do it quicker if you just buy a 5 link. And if you're at League Start, once you're done with that, you'll be able to sell it for a few chaos. Bow upgrade, once you get to maps, is your first priority. And because we want lightning, essentially any wrath essences you get, chuck on the new bow. To get some harvest, lightning, do that. Just try and get a better bow, because realistically, 1 essence is probably going to roll you a better bow than what you've already got. What I would say as well is when you start upgrading your character and improving your gear, sell your gear. Bow builds are always popular, and someone might want to buy your hand-me-down gear. You might look at it and go, oh, it's not very good, that's why I replaced it. But for someone who's much lower down in the maps, maybe doesn't have the gear, for them it might be a really good upgrade. So sell all of the gear that you're going to replace. Next one I get a lot is Pinnacle. Boss DPS is really low, I can't get them completed. So boss damage will be low on these, but you should be able to get them down. As I said, it's a mapping build. It's all it's designed for. The idea is to basically get past these 2 bosses any way you can, because they're the only thing standing between you and them mapping. Even if it means using all 6 portals, then go for it. The good thing about the intro bosses is if you fail, all you have to do is complete one more T16 map with that influence, and it drops you another key. So it's not like you've saved up a new rail set, you've done it, and you've bricked it, and now you've wasted all that money. The keys are free, they're untradeable. You should be able to get the bosses down. If you're really struggling, then maybe come back to the guide and have a look, because I've done it twice. And like I said, it wasn't easy in terms of the single target damage, but I got them down both times. And then the last FAQ I get is that my mark on hit isn't working, or I can't use my mark. They're both one of the same. You can't use your mark if you have it linked to mark on hit. It can only be automated. If your mark on hit is not working, it's probably a mana issue. Mark on hit has a big mana cost when linked to a mark. It can be 60, 70, 80, 90 mana, depending on any links and any, minus mana stuff you've got going on. I would recommend that you're probably out of mana and you're not able to cast it because you don't have the mana. So if this is the case, you can either link Inspiration up to your mark, which will lower the cost a little bit, or you can just link it to life tap so that it casts from life, and you know you're never going to have an issue. That's kind of it for what I wanted to go through. I just wanted to show you guys where all the information is available resource-wise for you to have a smoother league start. I wanted to cover a few frequently asked questions. If you've got any questions of your own, please feel free and leave them in the comments. I'll try and get back to you before league start. I'll be streaming on Friday, and then I'll bring a build guide update every day on YouTube. But essentially, unless something amazing gets discovered or I clamber on something that no one else is aware of, I might bring a video out to say, hey, look at this interaction, go and do it while you can. But realistically, it's just going to be a build diary every day. That's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.